Something in the dirt. So Benson and Moorhead have a new film, and I have seen. So this will be an interesting review because I've seen every film they've made. She's seen one now, and this is her only Benson and Moorhead film.
Yep.
So, all right, now, what's this about, Kaylee?
Oh my god.
So,
we watched this a couple days ago.
It's a
trippy film too,
yeah,
so I don't know if I
can
explain it, but it's about these two guys that live in LA, and some weird phenomena starts happening in one of their apartments that they then start to try and document and make a documentary about. And that's it. That's like the basic plot.
Yeah. You didn't sell the movie.
I didn't. I'm really bad with summaries on that stuff, but what would you like to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, these guys don't know each other, right? One of them moves into the building, and he meets his neighbor, and, he has this thing in his house. Now, there's, like, writing in the closet, and there's this, like, ashtray-looking thing.
But it's like a crystal?
Yeah. And it starts to levitate, and so they band together and decide to make this documentary on it, documenting the findings they have. And really, what this film is about is like paranoia, right? And it very much leaves it open for your speculation. I will say this. Having seen every one of their movies, I definitely think that this is the least accessible film of theirs that I've seen. And that's saying something because their films aren't easy. They're not easily digestible movies typically. I'd say Spring is probably their easiest to digest. It's fairly straightforward, but then like Resolution and The Endless and Synchronicity and those, there's a little bit more heady things going on for sure that make you go, Not that Spring doesn't make you think, but this one very much leaves a lot open to interpretation. There is no hand holding, and I personally did find myself to be a tad bored at times, because the film, it feels like I don't have confirmation on this, but I am almost 100% positive this is a quarantine COVID film, because it is just them two in an apartment for 99% of the film, alone and just talking. So it is an insanely heavy dialogue film. The plot is basically that they're documenting this floating thing in their room, and then it gets into like conspiracy theories, and these guys just kind of slowly lose their mind, but not in a traditional way that we typically see in film, right? It's very subtle, and so much, it's so subtle to the point where like you almost feel like nothing's happening a good amount of times, but then when you're into it and you're really paying attention, you do see this like slow descent of these guys' minds, one in particular. Yeah. And you kind of it's such a gradual decline that it's like almost blink and you miss it, and then it's there, and you're like, oh, I think this guy's kind of like off. And then it just kind of starts to go back like a little more down from there, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But you're not 100% when it's happening. You're just kind of like, I don't really know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of these characters. I don't know what to make of this situation. But it does have a way of kind of starting to slowly, because that's just it. It's a very gradual, slow build kind of movie. It does kind of start to slowly get under your skin a little, right? And then in the end, I think it's supposed to try to get in a little bit deeper. And I think with you, it worked more than it did with me. But I do find that this could be a film that would be beneficial to watch more than once for sure.
Oh,
if you have any interest in it. If you find it to be completely drudgery to sit through, then it's like, fucking forget it.
Sure.
But if you're intrigued at all, I think you can go back and be like, okay, I really am going to like try to dissect this movie.
Yeah.
I will say on first watch, it's my least favorite thing they've ever done.
It's pretty, I mean, so I actually really liked this movie.
Yeah.
But the first like quarter of the film, I did not know how I felt about it.
You didn't seem into it at all.
I was
like all the way up to like halfway in. I was just like, oh, Kaylee hates this.
I didn't hate it. I was just, I said it to you a few times where I was like, I don't know what I think about this because I was very like off-put and uncomfortable by their interactions, like the characters' interactions with each other. I found them to be very awkward, but also very like disturbing in a way that I was not expecting at all. But then as the movie went on, and then now afterwards, like a few days later, having like kind of digested it, I'm really into the concept, and I think what I like the most about the film is that it addresses like the paranoia of trying to explore mysticism and magic, because there was a period in my life when I was, kind of pretty into spiritualism, and I think that there's a really easy line that you can cross into madness, when you walk that path, and this film, I feel like, captured that really, really well, because and I mean, as you said, it's like ambiguous, there's a lot of questions, and like you're not 100% on like what is truly going on, but I just think that, like, I thought that there was definitely some phenomenon happening for real. Like, it was going on for real. And based on that and, like, their reactions and stuff, I just thought it was fascinating to see, like, how easily the human mind could get warped when it's confronted with something that is unexplainable or, like, supernatural or unnatural or whatever. And I feel like this movie had a very cosmic horror Lovecraftian vibe to it, but not in a...
All their films always do.
Yeah, not in like a Cthulhu monster kind of a thing, but just the cosmic horror of like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. So I was really into it, and then the ending I thought was wonderful. I was like, that's scary. Like, if that happened to you, of course, like... it's just scary to think of the possibility. And I was just a big fan of, I think both of their acting was really superb. I feel like they both played their characters, to a T, and they felt very much like real people that you could meet in LA. There's a lot of talk about, like, Los Angeles and the, the importance of the location, but I just felt like, the types of people that LA attracts, obviously there's a variety, but I could definitely see these two characters as, like, like you could find them out and about in LA, like if you were talking to people, you could find people that were very similar to the characters in the movie. And I don't know, I was really into it in the end, so I'm excited to see their other movies because I love cosmic horror, so I really like the vibe that this one had.
Yeah. My suggestion, because I think if you're a Benson and Moorhead fan, you probably have already watched this or are planning on watching it. If you're somebody who's unfamiliar with their work, and maybe you saw Moon Knight and you didn't have any idea they even, directed episodes, putting that aside, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who have seen something they've done since they did a Marvel project. But regardless, I think the best way to approach this would be to watch something else they did first. I don't think this is a good entry point for Benson and Moorhead. I think this is a little too heady. I think this is a little too cerebral, right? Like,
I was really into that aspect.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if we haven't sold you and you're kind of on the fence about it, I would go and I would check out Spring. I think that's the perfect entry film. Then I would follow that up with Resolution, then The Endless. Make sure you watch it in that order. And then if you're into it by that point, definitely check this out. But Synchronicity is also cool. And I didn't dislike this movie. I don't want it to seem like that. I would be absolutely open to checking it out again eventually. And focusing in more on it, because I don't know, I was a bit checked out. I did find myself a bit bored here and there, but I'm willing to give it another shot, because their films can be slow. Their films can be not a chore to get through, but just they take their time.
Yes.
And sometimes that can just be off-putting, and I love slow movies. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a slow movie that's intriguing. I just wasn't hooked immediately, but I liked it. I'm not 100% where I stand yet, and would probably need a second viewing. And there's no way I'm doing spoilers, because I would have no idea what the fuck I was talking about while doing it.
Definitely want to watch it again before trying to even talk about spoilers.
I couldn't even imagine trying to talk spoilers right now. I feel like I would be a total moron who was just like kind of giving bullet points of like, this happened and this happened, and like, I have nothing else to say about
what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then like, what was that thing?
This deserves a dissection from somebody who has watched it a few times and has really grasped the concepts that are being laid down. So I think for that, huge kudos to them for swinging for the fences, because I would expect nothing less from them. This is the kind of movies they make, and this is the one where they were kind of just being the most them, and good on them for that. So. I think that's that. Yeah. So let us know if you saw it. Let us know if you watch it. And what's your favorite of their movies if you've seen them all. Let us know.
Bye.